All right, trailer's hooked up. We got a pickup. Let's go. This one's gonna be good though. Free zero turns are always good. So I was at work today at my day job, and this morning someone called me, and the guy said that he had a Toro 38-inch cut zero turn with a bagger that he was wanting to get rid of because it had stopped running for some reason, and he had bought another mower. And he said that he only really tried like replacing the spark plug to get it running, and just bought another mower. So that's what we're after. So see what it looks like. We got the mower loaded up back there. This is one of those pickups I really enjoy because of the person you get to meet and talk to. This guy has lived out here for about 50 years. He's 79 and he still has a side business making cabinets. He makes custom cabinets. He has a nice woodworking shop with a separate area for spraying paint and stain. He has a central vacuum system with ports in the floor for vacuum collection. Really nice setup. It's just one of the things I just like about picking up mowers and stuff is just the people you meet and hearing their stories and what they've got to say and see their outlook on life and all these different things. I think the mower is a keeper too. Here we are. Toro Time Cutter 14.38Z. Very happy to have it. Now we need to find out if it'll run. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check the oil. Oil's good. Try to get some charge cables on there and maybe just jump it from another battery if I have one here, and see if it'll crank over, and then we're gonna see if we can get it to fire. Let's try a key, see what happens. Nothing. Put the multimeter on there and check the voltage. 2.8 volts. I got 12.4 volts on my deep cycle jumping battery, and maybe enough, maybe not. All right, they're hooked up. Let's give it a quick see what happens. All right, that's a good sign. All right, it's a different day and we have been working on getting the battery charged up. Let's give it a whirl. Almost exactly the way it was. I'm thinking out loud here. There's two things it could be. One is that I'm not getting enough juice into the system, and secondly, it could be that the starter is going bad. For process of elimination, I should probably put a different battery in here so that's not sucking up too much juice. All right, so I pulled another battery out of another lawnmower that should be a good battery because I've been using it earlier this year. So let's see if we can throw this in here real quick. Alrighty, the battery's in. Let's first try it without jumping and just see what it does. Okay, that's a little bit better. Now let's put the jumper cables on. Alright, now let's check for spark. Got our spark tester right here. Okay, that's on. There we go. How do I crank this and see it at the same time? I don't feel like I can see any spark, but it's just so hard to see back here. That seems very dead on the spark. That's interesting. If that's the case, it may not be a carburetor issue at all. I'll make sure my spark tester is working good. I think my spark tester is broken. There's something rattling around in there. Normally the first thing I would do is stick fuel in there and see if it would fire. And I thought, hey, I'll just try my spark tester since I have a spark tester. But if the spark tester is broken, that doesn't work. So let's go ahead and do the normal route and put some fuel in the carb and see if she fires. Carb cleaner, that's what works. Think it'll run? Well, but you know, maybe the spark tester wasn't broken. So I had a bright idea to test my spark tester on an engine I knew was working well. It's working. So the spark tester isn't the issue. This thing just seems like it really wasn't sparking. So we've probably got a bad coil. Or maybe a rusty one that just needs to be cleaned up. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull off the cover here. And that's pretty straightforward. Just a few bolts. Let's do it. All right, we got the cover off of here, and this thing is very dirty. I don't know, we may be dealing with some other oil leaks in here, or seepages, or just, it could just be, it's just not been cleaned a whole lot. The coil is quite oily. Let's see, there's the magnet, so that should be right where it sparks right there. The gap looks really, really tight, so that's good. Let's disconnect the coil ground wire, if we can get that off over here. A little tug, okay. So that should now make this be in a permanent spark situation. So let's see if we can crank it again and see if we get any spark here. Okay, no spark. I think the coil's bad. So let's see if we can get that coil off there and see if we can find another coil that we can swap in there instead. So I could try to clean these off. Look how impregnated that is with grease there. Let's see if we can clean this off. All right, there, I think we got this coil cleaned off a little bit. So hopefully this fixes the issue. We may try to sand the magnet a little bit. The magnet doesn't look too bad. I might see if I have some sandpaper. It can do just a tad on there. And if that doesn't fix it, then it's gonna need a different coil. All right, so I used my piece of sandpaper to kind of give me a gap here, just to get the coil as close as possible to the flywheel without touching it really, because it was a pretty thin piece of sandpaper. Seems like it's working pretty fine. Got some good compression there. It's not rubbing the flywheel. It looks really close. So let's go ahead and see if it'll spark now. All right, that answers that question. The coil's bad, it's still not sparking. And my ground wire is not connected. Yeah, so yeah, it's not sparking. So I need to go see if I can find another coil pack, which we have like a gajillion mowers out there, so there's a good chance we can find one. It's kind of dark out there right now, so I'm not sure what we'll find. Leaving the nice well-lit area of the shop to plunge into the darkness. Here we are. We may have something here. This is a similar sized engine. That thing's kind of rusty. The engine that we're working on says it's a 14 horsepower. So I'm wondering if this will work right on there. Because this, I think, might be like a 13.5. Of course, I have no idea if this one worked either. that little wire. There we go. Let's get back to the shop. It looks really similar. So there's a good chance that if we clean this one up, it'll work. A little wire brushing brought this one right around. I think that'll be clean enough to work if it's gonna work. This one's just not near as dirty as the other one was. So let's throw this on and see if we get some spark. Here it goes. Oh, wow. We got spark and we got a super nasty backfire there. That was almost like a gunshot going off. Which, honestly, that's what happens if you're cranking stuff and building up fuel in there. It didn't really have quite enough time, I guess, to evaporate out of there. But wow, that was loud. So that probably tells me that the fuel system is working, getting fuel into the engine, the fact that it backfired. So we've got spark now. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the engine cover back on there and throw my grounding wire on there. We might see if we can get this puppy running all the way. Ground wire tucked up on there. And again, it's that little wire that goes onto here. Just tuck that up on there. Okay, that's on there nice and solid. Let's try to fire it up again and let's not blow our ears off again. That wasn't too bad, except for the camera fell off. So it didn't quite idle, but the choke was definitely choking it. I feel like the throttle is set up so it can be shut farther than it should go somehow. I don't feel like the carburetor is really having an issue. I feel like it's just that your throttle control is moving it farther than it should. It was running pretty slow there, and I could have shut it down further. It runs and works. Yeah. All right. Victory. Okay, I will say it smelled a little smoky there, so I'm not sure. I will have to keep an eye on the oil situation because obviously the engine's kind of dirty. The smells can come from external oil or it could come from burning. There's no telling for sure, but it runs pretty good and it wasn't really smoking that much. So this engine may be still in good condition. I think that covers it for part one of the Toro time cutter 14.38Z with a full bagger system on it. Yes, it runs. It just needed a new coil. So, super excited about this one. Yeah, we'll probably have a part 2 where we get this cleaned up further and maybe sold or whatever. But yeah, so I think that's it for now. So thank you guys for watching Garage Story. And as always, stay safe and keep making stories. We'll catch you guys on the next one.